So I really like to focus. I'm trying to look and see what can I do to move the needle as quickly as possible, because not just increasing rents and decreasing expenses, it's you want to increase the NOI, which of course you do by doing what you just said. But sometimes I may want to focus on revenue first and not touch the expenses, because I think the payoff is going to be big. So I like to look and see what can I do to move the needle first. So it could be expenses, but it could also be the revenue, right? So the first thing I look for is, what is the market rent? Without having to do any kind of renovations, a lot of times these properties are mismanaged. They've been owned for 10, 15, whatever years, and the owner just raised it never or by 1%. Meanwhile, the market is up here. So very simple, just by management upon natural turnover, I will increase the rents to where the market is, right? And then lumber people might move out, but they're not dumb either. Like, oh, okay, finally they got me. I might as well stay here. Otherwise, I got to pay the same thing and move, right? So just simply raising rents where the market is the easiest one. And then typically a lot of times the reason we buy stuff is because there's a value add opportunity, which means that there hasn't been really any renovations made. Meanwhile, there's, other apartment buildings of the same type, same year that have had renovations. And as a result, their rents are $300 higher because it just looks nicer, right? And so I'm going to raise money for a construction, and I'm going to start turning over 2 or 3 units per month, or whatever the case may be, upon natural move out. And now I can charge that higher rent. So I will focus on that first, unless there's something egregious with the expenses. Like I look at the expenses, and as I'm doing due diligence, I compare their expenses and utility bills and stuff like that. And maybe there's something I see for good measure. You should always have a requote for your insurance policies and trash policies and that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, you need the right property manager in place, because all these things I'm talking about are operations things, which you shouldn't be doing. So it's very important that you put the right property manager in place, and then that right property manager will take care of all these things for you. And it helps to get on the same page with the property manager, see if they're seeing the same thing you're seeing, and then you simply hold them accountable. You say, okay, what is your plan here? Here's a construction plan. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to create up a pro forma for the first quarter. If they're off track, there's a conversation. And if they can't get it back on track, you might have to replace them. The good news is in this asset class, there's 9 other property managers typically that you can hire very quickly to replace them. You don't have to train them. You just hand them the keys. And it's going to be a bit disruptive, but it's not like you have to train them like a new employee. So those are sort of some things that we look for. But the bottom line is that most syndicators don't pay enough attention on operations. And that's something that we learned early on.